And we'll start by looking at the Exposition Universelle, the Great World's Fair in Paris in 1889, where there were quite a number of Americans represented. I won't go through the whole list, but Chicago was represented, as well as New York. And they were represented mostly in stained glass and some metal work, but I'll show you mostly the stained glass today. It was John Lafarge, a great New York artist and stained glass artist and interior decorator, who invented what's called opalescent glass. That's a glass you can't see through, but that lets light through. It has a chemical composition that refracts the light internally in the glass and then makes the glass brighter than just clear glass windows such as we have in the outside all around you and that you're very familiar with. Opalescent glass was patented by John Lafarge in 1879. Lafarge was a disaster at marketing. His friend and colleague for a few minutes, Louis Comfort Tiffany, brilliant at marketing, takes the patent from John Lafarge and patents his own opalescent glass in 1881. It's called Favril. It sells like hotcakes. And Tiffany then becomes famous for Favril glass. Well, from 1880 on, opalescent glass is part of the American vocabulary and is used in stained glass extensively. The clever thing you can do with opalescent glass, and you'll see this in a second, is that it's colored internally. It's not painted on. Traditionally, stained glass has always been used as the glass has always been used as a canvas, and you paint on that canvas, and the stained glass itself retains no color, or just a hint of the color. The great French cathedrals, it's light blue, but there's a silver oxide glaze that makes it black, and then you have facial outlines. You can tint the glass with pigments, with oil paints of sorts, and then you fire it. You don't need to do that with opalescent glass. You can have brown opalescent glass, yellow opalescent glass, green opalescent glass, and it's all the glass that you put together. And that's an American invention from the 1880s on. And Chicago is the first place to really use it extensively, and this building is the one to use it extensively. So what happens in 1889 at the Paris World's Fair is that John Lafarge exhibits there and he wins the gold medal. Louis Comfort Tiffany exhibits there, but not glass. He wins in metalwork and other decorative arts. Healy and Millay exhibit at the 1889 World's Fair. They win the silver medal, but much more important, they win the purchase prize. And it's not John Lafarge's glass that's purchased, it's windows by Healy and Millay from the Auditorium Bldg that are purchased in Paris. They become part of the inventory of the Museum of Decorative Arts in Paris in 1889. Everybody in Europe is looking at this stuff because they've never seen it. And then the Museum of Decorative Arts, which still exists in Paris today, gets rid of all of its 1889 acquisitions, or all of its 1890s, 95, 1900 acquisitions, and they become part of the Musée d'Orsay. And the Musée d'Orsay still has in its collection 2 stained glass windows that were shown at the Chicago from Healy and Millay in 1889. The black and white one I just showed you. This one is what the French saw also. There were numerous Healy and Millay windows on display. We don't know what happened to these two, but they were published in 1889 in a French decorative arts magazine. And this one, seen from the front and from in reflected light, is still on display in Paris. It's from the Auditorium Bldg, and it's manufactured in Chicago by Healy and Millay.